Hello, beautiful people. Psychic Debbie here. Hoping you're having a great day, afternoon, or evening. I'm with my son, Kenny, here, and we are going to be honoring the
Everybody.
Timberwolves for Memorial Day weekend. So happy Memorial Day weekend. As you can see, we are not in our studio, so we look a little defrazzled. But I want to thank everyone for connecting. If you look behind us, we're going to be showing a bunch of people's the Holland in the background. So connecting. Oh, let me see here. Sorry, you guys.
That's right.
I want to do the pop up here so we can see who's.
So just so you guys know, we're on 3 different devices.
Yes, 3 different devices.
We're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Camera. So all she said, we're going to be honoring names on Timberwolf tracks, which they actually made this become available on the internet, so you don't have to buy the hard copy anymore. I know if you go, if you search Timberwolves, 104th Timberwolves Infantry Division, go to their website. I believe they're updating the URL to own this online. So we're going to talk about the project that we're doing. And then we're going to start naming off some names, thanking some people from our last video.
Right.
And shouting out specific members from the Timberwolves. So if you're not familiar, we're going to kind of catch everyone up. The Timberwolves is a division from World War II. It's the 104th Timberwolves division.
Oh, there they are.
Yep, you got the names.
Yeah.
So this is their logo.
Yeah.
And unlike the Minnesota Timberwolves, we're actually successful.
Okay.
So they went through Holland. There's 3 cameras. I'm literally, everyone, please comment how I'm going between each camera. Mom's playing favorites.
Yeah.
So the Timberwolves are.
Just say hi.
The Timberwolves were Army division in World War II. And they did one tour through Europe, and they successfully liberated thousands of families in Holland, in Germany.
Belgium.
They helped. Well, they didn't really through Belgium, but they opened the port of Antwerp through Belgium.
Okay.
And they met up with the Russians at the end of the war, and were one of the divisions that surrounded Germany and finished the war. So all the fun stuff on that end, I know a lot of the hi Paulette. I know a lot of the Facebook group people know those stories. The reason we're talking about this is our story. So our family is from Holland, and so Mom's parents were both born in Holland. One in Oudenbosch, which you can see on some of the cameras here behind my head. And the other one in Tilburg.
Yeah.
And the Timberwolves liberated those towns. So obviously my grandma grew up telling me, well, I grew up with her telling me stories about the Timberwolves coming to town and freeing them, the Americans coming to town. And when they saw the Americans, they knew they were free from the Nazis. And so this happened in October. So we'll be talking a little bit about the 80th anniversary trip in October. So with our story, when I grew up, Oma told me these stories. I thought it was a good story. Oma moved to Oregon. She started writing her own stories, her own little memoirs. And from that, she shared one of her chapters was about the Timberwolves. And you got to think this was 8-10 years ago now. So 5 years ago, 75 years later, she was sharing this story, and one of the students in her class said, "Oh, my dad's a Timberwolf, and he's still alive. Would you like to meet him?" And she said, "Yeah." So 75 years later, Oma, who was about 8 when they liberated Oudenbosch, met one of her heroes 75 years later. So for me, I thought this would be a great film idea. I wrote a script about it. We won't get too much into that. We'll talk about that later. I will unveil, it's a little last minute or really quick. We are in post-production fixing the voiceover that was done by Academy Award winner J.K. Simmons.
Yay!
So he will be narrating the short film that we've made to try and pitch a feature film. Now, one of the reasons we have you here today is we are lucky enough to join the 80th anniversary trip. So the Timberwolves have a group called the Timberwolf Pups. The Pups are, as you probably guessed, the kids and grandkids, family members of the Timberwolves who are either still alive or have passed away. They do this, it seems like almost every 5 years. They've done it the last, like the 70th, the 75th, the 80th, but this is most likely. I don't know if any of the original Timberwolves will be joining on this trip from World War II.
Because they'd be what?
Maybe 100.
100 in their 90s or
so
100,
traveling to Europe at that age it'll be tough for Oma, and she's in her 80s.
She's in her 80s, yeah.
So we want to join, and Oma is going. Oma's going back to her hometown of Audenbos, and we are trying to get my production company to go. We have a crew ready. We're just trying to raise money to cover flights, costs of just staying there. We're not trying to make money ourselves. We're just trying to cover the cost to get over there and film this exciting event from 80 years later. So one of these ways we want to do that is getting you involved. If at the very least, if you're not able to donate, I hope you learn about the Timberwolves. We want the word to spread. So when the movie and everything builds up, there's an audience for it. So you can talk about, yes, I know about the Timberwolves. Hey, I heard a movie's coming out about the Timberwolves. If the short film goes to festival, you hear about the Timberwolves at that festival. It's in your hometown. It's in our hometown, LA, New York, Chicago. You can come see it and kind of learn about this unique story. So if you want to donate, we'll kind of leave comments here if you don't mind putting in the chat.
Right.
And I'll put it on here. If you have Venmo, you can go to @TreasureSky on Venmo.
Did I spell that right?
Yes. There you go.
Okay.
So that's Venmo, @TreasureSky if you have Venmo. If you have PayPal, let me put it on here too.
Okay. We've got 3 things going on, so
I know, sorry. We won't be interacting too much because we're trying to do this. Is Venmo.
And we're going to be reading off people's names. We're honoring them.
Yes.
And thanking them for their service. So we will get to that soon.
Venmo @Treasure. Oh, I already have it on there. Okay.
Yeah,
and then PayPal, you can either go by my email, which is.
Thank you, Teresa.
I'll write the email down on all of them. Kenneth T. Griggs @TreasureSkyProduction.com.
We're typing here.
And there's a donation tab on there.
Did I do that
Kenneth
right?
T. Griggs @TreasureSkyProduction.
Oh, you put that down. Isn't this pretty, the background? Kenny found this and we thought we'd honor Holland. So you guys can, instead of looking at our wonderful faces, you can see the background.
PayPal. And you can go, at the website, or if it just asks for the email, it's that email, same email.
So I'm going to say hi to some people. Hi, Teresa. Thank you for the beautiful comments. Kelly, Nydia, Christina, Nancy, PH, Nancy, Rhonda, and Mary. Thank you for connecting and watching. Thank you very, very much.
So I don't have the Zelle set up yet. So I will set up Zelle. Good question, Paulette, but no Zelle as of right now. But as of right now, PayPal, either through PayPal, do that email, or go to TreasureSkyProduction.com and go to the donate tab. And then, Venmo, Treasure Sky. So,
right.
The reason we gathered you all here today in this room.
We're gathered here today. Doesn't that sound like
the reason we're here, the reason we can tell this story, and the reason Mom and I are sitting here right now, one of the big reasons is for these men from the 104th Timberwolves division.
Right.
Them freeing not only my grandma, but her parents and her grandma.
My dad, and his parents.
Mom's grandma lived to what?
97.
97. she went through the war too. So
Yeah. She
all
even
of
lost a
this,
child in the war.
Yeah. So Oma lost her sister Cecile, which we honor in the film that I've written. One of the characters' names is Cecile. So a lot of honoring. So in the spirit of honoring, and it is Memorial Day, we are going to name some names.
So here's someone, S. Spalding just said, I just posted today for my uncle Gilbert
Garza,
Garza.
Staff Sergeant, Timberwolf 104th Division, 414th Regiment, killed in action in 1943, buried in American Cemetery in the Netherlands. Great.
Wow.
So we're going to have to look for a cemetery when we go.
Yep.
If you're going on the trip too, let us know.
Yeah.
So let's start with that. Let me see your phone. Unplugging that.
Yeah.
All right. So mostly here with a lot of the Timberwolves pups. Just like this, they mentioned their father, their uncle, their father-in-law, their grandfather. They said, hey, do you mind mentioning them? So we're going to start with them because we want to make sure they are covered. And these are people that are going to go on the trip. These are people that have been on the trips. They understand the impact this has. Again, if you go to Oudenbosch and you'll see signs with the Timberwolves. I know my head's in the Timberwolves logo. There's plaques. We're going to ceremonies where they still have streets named after the Timberwolves. So
they take care of their cemeteries very, very well. There's a long list of people wanting to take care of the cemeteries because of them liberating Holland. And I hear stories about it all the time where people are like proud and to say that they're taking care of one of the Timberwolves grave sites that were there for World War II. So we appreciate that.
Starting out, I'm going to have a couple people that I've met personally and some good stories there. Starting out with Mary Jameson. She runs a lot of the Timberwolf pup organization stuff, the meetings, the anniversaries, all that good stuff. So Mary, she wanted me to mention her father, Jamie Jameson. She also mentioned that 3 or 4 post-war vets, the division became a training unit. So 3 or 4 post-war vets will be in the on the trip for the 80th anniversary, including General Hardin. Mary Ann, she wanted me to mention her father, John Patrick Majorano. The great thing with Mary Ann is when Dad went with me to Arizona, we went to a little film festival. There, Dad drove with me, and a lady came and sat in front of us, and she turned around. She said, "You're too young to be a Timberwolf." And she said, "Oh, so it was your grandfather a Timberwolf?" And I said, "No, they were actually watching the movie I made about them." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I came all the way from New York to watch this short film." I think she had, if she's here, you can correct me, Marianne. But she was gonna go to Arizona because it was like their snowbirds, being from New York, go to Arizona when it's nicer. She's like, I pushed my trip up a week so I could see this short film and meet you and just say thanks for making this film. So Marianne, to your father, John Patrick.
S. Spalding, she said, yes, they sent me pictures of the flowers they placed on their graves, and they take pictures with their children. It's such a touching and
so touching and beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. You guys, it's just fantastic.
There's a guy on the Facebook page named Wilco, and he reaches out to me. He reached out to me personally. He said, my mom went to school with your grandmother. I have photos of them in like grade school.
Oh my God.
And her and Oma have been trading letters back and forth, getting ready for this trip.
Wow. So, fantastic.
Again, without these guys.
Without the Timberwolves. Yep.
All right, I'm going to go through the list. Pat Hastings. She wanted me to mention John Hastings. Brian Sumner wanted me to honor Melvin Sumner. Kathy Johnson wanted me to honor Cassius Kopka. Cindy Rigler Rosenberry. Richard W. Rigler Jr. Paul Carangelo wanted me to mention Vincent Carangelo. Marcia Rushidi wanted me to mention Edward Thomas Rushidi. Richard Wilson wanted me to mention Richard Carlton Wilson. Kathy Morgan wanted me to mention Warren A. Smart. Ralph Fred wanted me to mention Raymond Fred. Brian Norwood wanted me to mention Waylon Norwood. This one's kind of a fun one. Mike White wanted me to mention Lester D. White, nicknamed Red. Red, white, and blue. Catherine Nelson Manos. Yes, the color of The
of
Dutch
Dutch
and
flag,
the American flag.
Yeah.
Wanted me to mention Norman E. Nelson. Dorian L. Baldwin wanted me to mention Justin Lipman. Rosemary Scarfo Maneri wanted me to mention Joseph A. Scarfo. Nell Dunham Bartels wanted me to mention Fred Dunham. Lucy Haskell wanted me to mention Sheldon J. Bin. Frank Jantiella wanted me to mention Frank John Jantiella. Diane Luke Ridgway wanted me to mention Arthur Franz. Jim Craig wanted me to mention Ronald E. Craig. Peter Dixon wanted me to mention John C. Dixon. Brenda R. Apolka wanted me to mention Richard W. Betts. Harry McGinnis wanted me to mention George Lefty McGinnis. Lavina Guy wanted me to mention Herbert M. Bremner. And I added this one. I don't think she mentioned it, but Ginny Franklin, I'm going to mention Paul Franklin, your father. Paul Franklin was the one that Alma met 75 years after, so about 5 years ago. I was lucky enough to fly up to Oregon to meet him a year after.
Right.
And then the year after that, he sadly passed away. And I met his family. His family seen the short film. So it was an honor to meet them and keep in touch with them. So very, very wonderful people. And if he was as nice as his children, he was a great guy.
Yeah.
So he was one of the ones I remember stories that he'd be like, "Oh, what do you trade? Cigarettes?" I didn't smoke. I like chocolate. So we want to start with that. Again, there's gonna be a lot of names, so we're gonna be running down. We'll take some breaks. Let's see. My dad, Lieutenant Ronald E. Craig, 386 Artillery Battery B. Perfect. So, a big part of this.
Hi, Bar.
Again, it may just be like he's just rattling off names. I'm a big believer in that old saying that you die twice, when you actually die, and then when the last person says your name. So
Yes.
I think it's very important to mention these names. And as Mom can attest, the spirit of them feels it. They
Yes.
hear it. They know that you are there and thinking of them, and they are thinking of you.
So
Right?
we'll start reading off some names. If you have somebody that you want us to honor, please let us know. This video is going to be about honoring them, and tomorrow I'll do cards for people that have donated. Just a card for each person. I have a lot of people that have donated already.
Yes.
So it will, we have a lot of people that donated already, and thank you. If you have donated, again, like Kenny said, on my thing on you can look at his Venmo and his what was the other one that you shared?
So for Venmo, again, if you have Venmo at Treasure Sky, it's the production company. PayPal, Kenneth T. Griggs at Treasure Sky Production. It's in the comments, so just scroll up if you don't see it, or go to treasureskyproductions.com and go to the donate tab.
Right.
I appreciate that. So Marianne is here. She's the one from Arizona.
Yay! Hi,
from New York who came to Arizona. So hi. It's Marianne from New York. Thank you, Kenny, for the wonderful announcement of my dad. And yes, everything you said was perfectly correct. Thank you for this great honor to my dad and other great Timberwolves and their families. God blessings to you and this amazing project. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you. So you kind of catch yourself when a 3-minute proof of concept short video affects someone.
Right,
So we're looking to make this a 1.5-hour feature film.
Yeah, we want to make it a feature film and honor these beautiful people, the Timberwolves and the families. I'm saying hi to Kim and Jules. Thank you, Bora Bora, also. So thank you for connecting and seeing
My
us.
My dad, Joe Luckett from D. Britnam. We hear ya. Thank you from the Paul Franklin family.
Yay!
Hi, guys. I told you I knew who they were. I wasn't making these people up. Thank you. Okay, so again, we're reading from the Timberwolf tracks. This talks a lot about the history of the Timberwolves. Mary Jameson told me this is not the whole list. So think of that. There's so many missing in action, still missing, unidentified soldiers. They were being traded between units. So she said this is like scratching the surface. So just honoring these names, no, there's thousands more out there that have gone nameless. So do you want to start with a few names so I can stop talking a little bit? And we haven't read through these. I've read through a couple of them, so if we mispronounce,
I'm not good at
it's okay.
saying. I'm not good at
So
announcing names.
if you want to go through here to the V's, NMI just means no middle initial.
Okay.
And then you don't have to hit the infantry and all that. You can just do
okay.
It'll be last name, first name. So
okay,
you can do Sylvester Abbott or Abbott Sylvester.
Okay, Abbott Sylvester.
Abrahamson.
Guy. Harry.
Harry Atkinson.
Albert Eckerman.
Roke.
Acosta. See, I'm not good at names. Graydon Adams. William Adams. Joe Adnet.
Hi, Julie.
John Atkins. Joe Agabo. Reginald
Thank you, Paulette.
Agnes. Max.
Alcantar. All the A's are difficult.
I know.
Okay, when we get to like
Smith.
Okay, I'll go back a little bit. Reginald A. Agna, Max L. Alcantar, Soren M. Alemian.
See, he's even having a hard time.
Russell W. Alexander. I got that one. Jack H. Alford. Salvatore Alio. John Alioto. A.J. Allen. Clark B. Allen. Oh, this is your part. Go.
Jack Allen. Okay, just 1 second. James Gregg, he says, thanks, Kenny, for bringing information about our service members who have passed away. It's hard to find a lot about their time in service. Oh, thank you. Jack Allen, Roy Allen.
No, that's why I had to say it. Real quick, I just want to say, because of that, thank you for noticing. Again, you may be like, he's just rattling off names. For giving this, hour and a half, however long this takes, it's the least we can do for what they've sacrificed. So just to say their name again.
John Ellison, Earl Elway, and it's
Allenbaugh,
Leo
Emilini,
Claiborne Anderson, John Anderson, Kenneth Anderson, Lester Anderson, Wallace Anderson, Clifton Andrews, Donald Andrews, Mike Angelica, J.C. Angel, Wayburn F. Elgin.
Kern, I can't talk to you.
Maybe you can. I don't know.
Kern, I can't talk to you.
And he's a serviceman. He's in the airborne.
My best friend Kern was my best man at Katie and I's wedding. He just, if you can, in the comments, give a round of applause. Became a lieutenant this last week.
Yay!
So, second lieutenant, Current Rosich from the 82nd Airborne.
We love you. We salute you.
All right.
We love him like my son. I love him dearly.
Alonzo Anton, Dominic Aquino, Albert Armin, Abraham Arnaz, Julius Aronson,
Leroy Ashby, Donald Atkins, Lauren Atkinson, John Atkinson, Alfred Arbach, William Alt, Earl Azzi, Joseph
Bakinski,
Andrew Back,
Aubrey,
Paul Bagby,
thanks, Teresa.
Ralph Bird,
thanks, Greg.
Chester Baker, Jack Backer, boy, my God,
Baker.
Robert Baker, Kenneth Batkin, Jack Baldridge, Alan Baldwin, a different one, Elward Bales, Thomas Bales, Soul, you start saying.
All right. Soul Baratz, Robert Barker, just kind of look and see it. Hey, Jason, Skull Vikings. Hi, Jules. For people popping on, we're just naming members of the 104th Timberwolves division, World War II division that liberated our family and many like it in Holland and in Germany. This fall, 80th anniversary of them liberating. So we understand the official liberation. It would be the 79th anniversary of the official liberation, but for when they went through my grandma's hometown and most of Holland, it was the fall of 44. So this is the 80th anniversary.
Yeah, and so they're going there this fall.
Norris Bernard, Samuel Barnes, Jesse Barnett, Looney Barr, Clarence Barrett, Tom R. Barrett, Richard J. Barron Jr., Victor J. Berry, Milton Barshop, Sam Baskin, Henry Bast, Robert Bates, Robert Bauer, James Bowman, George E. Baxter, Arthur Bayer, Isidore Becker, Everett Becknell, Walter Becraft, Adrian Belcher, Ross Belfiore, Jack Bell, James Bell, Louis Bollinger, Robert Benjamin, Harvey Bennett, Wayne Bennett, George Benson, Joe Benson, James Bentley, Aloysius Burse, George Berkey, Stuart Berman. Yes.
Teresa goes, can't wait for the movie. I've never heard this story before. And that is the reason why we were wanting to do this, because many people have not heard of the Timberwolves. If you say, have you heard of the Timberwolves? They think of basketball, Minnesota, which is kind of funny because my family that we're talking about, my mom and dad, when we came from New Zealand, we moved to Minnesota. So, but the Timberwolves, this regiment, helped liberate Holland and my family and many, many other people. And so we're honoring these beautiful, beautiful people. And we believe, and we truly believe, that people need to hear this story of what they went through. And so that's why we're trying to do a documentary of this 80th anniversary. This, what's the day you guys are going? September?
October.
This October, to honor these beautiful soldiers. So
Thanks, Frank.
If you wanting to donate, we have it on the chats.
Yep.
Also, if you're connected to me and you're like, I'm confused, Debbie, just go to psychicdebbie.com and go to my donation page and say it's for the Timberwolves. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Even if it's $5, or if you can't, please tell everybody else about this story and what we're trying to bring out into the world. Wouldn't it be great if like Steven Spielberg or Clint Eastwood or somebody, Ron Howard would do a film on this, because it's really, really powerful. Audrey Hepburn is connected. Do you know what I mean? She was in Holland. So she's the little Dutch girl. So it affects her. It affects more people than you realize that these beautiful soldiers did for not just for the States, but for Europe also. So we're really, truly wanting to honor them. And thank you for Teresa for saying that you can't wait for the movie.
All right, we're going to continue. Roy Berry, James Bertoglio, Frank Bettinger, Henry Beck, Edmund Bevan, Laverl Bicker, Fulton Baiju, James E. Bisbee, Louis Biscotti, Leo D. Bison, Leonard K. Bjorgo, James Black, Marshall Black, Harry Blair, Frederick Blanchon, Fletcher Blanton, James Blanton, William Bluer, Robert Blumenthal, Jasper Boatwright, John Bob, George Bowman, Donald Bone, Walter Bolachowski, William Bolin, Benjamin Bonifero, Lester Bonkowski, Leslie Bonner, Carol Boone, William Borgner, John Boss, Charles Bouchard, Arthur Bowles, Luther Bowles, Alvin Boyd, Edgar Boyd, J. L. Boyd, Karen L. Bozeman, William C. Braden, Milton W. Bradley, Paul H. Bradley, John W. Bradshaw, Bruce M. Bramall, John T. Bramlett, James L. Brandano, Arthur T. Brandoline, Clifford C. Brand, Allison O. Brantner, Albert Brasseau, George Braun, Irving Brownstein, John Bredesen, Wallace Bredwell, Davis Bredlinger, Kenneth Brennan, Paul Brenesian, Ursel Brewster, William Bridges, Eugene Britton, Howard Broman, Max Brothers, Lawrence Brotzler, Bruce Brown, John Brown, Key Brown, Ralph Brown, Robert Brown, Woodrow Bruce, Marcel Breuer, Gerald Bryant, Robert Bryant, Walter Buchanan, Joseph Bukowski, George Bertratus, Peter Buendia, Peter Bundy, Oscar Burge, Verlin Burmis, Leon Burns, Lester Bush, Roland Bush, Edward Butler, William Cahill, Ralph Calderon, Forrest Calhoun. That's
Okay.
one page.
That's
Or
just
2 pages.
Yeah. So why don't you tell them about where you're going to go? Where are
Yeah.
they going on this trip this October? Where's
So-
Timberwolves and the Timberwolf pups going?
I don't know exactly the town names. I know Oma does.
Yeah.
The only town name I for sure know is Oudenbosch.
Yeah.
So they are going to go through, it's mostly in Holland, but they're going through Amsterdam, down into Holland, Tilburg area. They are having ceremonies at some cemeteries. They're going to have some wreath ceremonies at some of the cemeteries. And then they are going to go into Germany. So the southernmost part, southwesternmost part of Germany, I believe around where the Battle of the Bulge was. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And then head back to Amsterdam and head out. So it's about a 14-day.
Are they going to France at all, or
No? So it's
Okay.
all Holland based.
it's all Holland based?
Holland
Okay.
based, and then Germany for a couple days. And they're kind of following the Timberwolf tracks. So they went through where Normandy was, but they got in summer of 44. Again, big part of Normandy was making an opening for the Allies. So the Timberwolves walked through there. So thank you for the soldiers who fought in the beaches of Normandy. And then they went, and like I said, their first big part of action was opening the port of Antwerp between Belgium and Holland. That became a second access point for the Allies. So now they had 2 points to kind of go against Germany. And they were part of the Battle of the Bulge, the Siegfried Line. So they were part of the big pushes into Germany, and then going through Cologne, Germany, which with the big Gothic cathedrals and stuff like
pretty.
that. Yeah. So my wife Katie is going along with me. So we are going to take an extra stop to go to Cologne because I want to see the cathedrals and hopefully film them.
Yes. Yeah, we
and
want to
then-
get some service. Yeah, film service here.
And went through. I don't know if they got all the way to Berlin, but they helped with. Oh, Jenny was mentioning something. Yeah, Audrey. Speaking of Audrey Hepburn, Audrey. So yeah, they then surrounded Germany with meeting up with Russia and the Polish and stuff like that, and were one of the divisions that were there when they ended the war. So I know Audrey mentioned to me when I told her the story. She's my brother-in-law's girlfriend. That her family, I think, was liberated. I don't know if I got it right or not, but something about your family being liberated in Holland or in Europe during World War II. So thank you to them as well.
Yeah, it's affecting more people than you realize. It affects numerous of people. So,
All right, so I'm gonna fire some off here.
He's gonna fire off some more names. We got a lot of names here. And even if just one of you guys are just watching us, we're gonna honor
keep
these
going.
people, and we're going to say these names. Maybe just have us in the background and just to listen to the names while you're doing something else. That's okay. Like we said, when you mention their names, they're getting honored in many ways. So I appreciate that.
So we have William Calvert, Elias Camargo, Orndorff Cameron, Robert Campaign, Charles Campbell, Frank Campbell, Hugh Campbell, Vincent Campbell, Warner Campbell, James Cannon, Charles Cannon, Carl Cantrell, Benjamin Carden, Paul Cardone, Clifford Carlson, James Carlton. I feel like I'm naming off like playing cards.
Yeah.
I have James Carlton from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, playing cards for the
Frank Carruthers, Adrian Carr, Byron Carr, Ralph Carroll, Robert Carter, Cleve, I'm assuming Cleve, Carver, Harold Kastner, William Cassidy, Redmond Castle, Raymond Katina, Rayford Casey or Kazi, Rudolph Sarah Geely, I think I mentioned him earlier, Joseph Kernan, Ernest Chambers, James Chapman, Melvin Chapman, Gerard Sharon, Edward Chavez, Chester Cheney.
That's the name.
Albert Chevret, Silas Chu, Key Chico, Herman Childress, Cyril Christoph, Atwood Clark, Eugene Clark, Frank Clark, Howard Clark, Richard Clark, Thomas Clark, Robert Klein, Herschel Cobb, Emmett Cockrum, Harold Coffin, Charles Cohen, Morton Cohen, George Colbert or Colbert, Robert Cole, Robert Coleman, James Colley, William Coman or Comine, Sherwood Condit, Chris Condos, Russell Comfer, Earl Conkin, James Connor, Warren Conrad, Thomas Conroy, Edwin Cook, Roscoe Cook, Lee Cooper. Real quick, not to get too much into it, but personally, Cheryl Connor, we love you. The people watching, they know. All right. Lee Cooper, Glenn Copley, Frankie Cordero, Donald Corvo, Jack Cotton, Alexander Caviello, Rocco Caviello, Robert Cohen, Harry Cox, John Cox, Robert Coyle, Raymond Crabb, Brown A. Craig, Bruce Crawford, Needy Crawford, Robert Crenshaw, Albert Crisp, Bryce Crosby, Floyd Crosby, Laverne Crossan, Richard Crowder, Francis Crowley, Estelle Crum, Joseph Cummins, James Curry, Leo Cusack, Tom Svisik, Stanley Shrew, John Dalrymple, Carter Danforth, Dario D'Antoni, Sidney Dadar, Walter Davenport. A lot of names.
You get into names that I could announce, maybe?
You can try.
Maybe William Davidson, Fred Davis, William Davis, Davis.
All right. There's Curran.
Joel
Hi, Curran.
Dacey, John Day, Robert Dean, Armando D'Angelo, Clifford DeBoer, Bernard D. Cook, William Dieter, Robert Deloche, Francis Dench, Donald Deniston, William Denton, John Durandon. Dudarian was way off, sorry. Donald DeVault, Robert DeYoung, Vernon Dizzuti, William Dickens, Thomas Dickerson, John Dietrich, Ernest
Dirks,
Royal Dietz, Louis Delaro, Manuel, I don't know, what does that say? Durrell, Joseph
Detour,
Robert Dixon, John Doby, George Dolson, Robert Donley, Glenn Donnelly, James Dozer, Cecil Doster, Howard Doltry, James Dole, Edward
Dragansky,
James Drake,
Orest Dravik,
Charles
Dreffel,
Wayne
Drewer,
Dreyer, Edward Duffy, Lowell Duggan, Starlin Duke, Henry Duncan, Paul Dunkel, Walter Dunn, Harry Durant, and Warren Durrell.
Okay.
So if I'm, butchering your names, please, sorry, but we're saying their names. So what was Curran saying?
Just saying hi.
Hi, Curran. Love ya.
Then we got Katie Stoddard. Hi.
Hi. So if you guys are on my YouTube and you want to say hi, or even if you're just listening, just, do the hearts or whatever. So every time that we're saying a name.
If you hear someone with your name, with your last name, put a heart. Oh, thanks for the hearts.
Yeah.
And if you hear a name you know of, a familiar last name that you've heard of, throw in a heart there.
Right. Just to honor them. It's just honoring these beautiful servicemen. Were there women on there too? Or no?
I'm not sure. I don't know, with like medical and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there was women
interacted with them.
Yes, all around. So we gotta thank them too. The nurses
and the wives taking care of the kids
and all that stuff. So we gotta honor
getting
everybody.
The war bonds and all that. And
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So
Charles Durkin, Thomas Dwyer, Willie Dye, Paul Dyer, John Durdall, Joseph Easley, George Eaton, James Abarb, Alan Eberly, Clarence Eckert, Harry Edgecombe, Plen Edwards, Irvin Ellers, Adam Eichner, Melvin Eisenberg, Albert Eister, Joseph Elwell, William England, Lyndon Epperson, Arn Erickson, Joe Espinoza, Domenico Esposito, Sonny Ewer, Peter Avancho, Albert J. Evans Jr., Harry Evans, John Eckelt, Llewellyn Eller, Robert Fay, Forrest Fair, Thomas Farrell, David Fout, John Fiesel, Louis Fair, Charles Feldblum, William Felkins, Joseph Feltz, Charles Ferguson, Henry Fernandez, Anthony Ferrante, Arnold Ferree, Joseph Farrell, Herbert Fetzer, Philip Fewer, Joseph Fiala, Benjamin Fielder, Paul Fields, Samuel Fugili, Roy Fike, Joseph Filippi, and to the Fields family, hi. All right.
That's his wife's maiden name, Fields.
We got a lot here.
Oh my
We're
God.
gonna rattle off a few here. So, if you stayed this long, thank you.
Thank you. If you stayed this long, like I said, even if you're listening to us in the background,
yeah,
we appreciate it because at least their names are getting out
honor,
and being heard and being honored. Okay.
That's what Memorial Day is all about. So
right.
To take some time, if you had a free day off,
right.
to just honor some of the thousands of soldiers that freed a lot of our families. So,
yes.
Baron Finch, Henry Finnegan, Clifford Flanders, Sidney Fleischman, Robert Fleming, Telesforo Flores, Tony Flores, Thomas Flynn, Wallen Foles, Kenneth Fortner, Delbert Fortney, Morris Fosdick, Marvin Fossum, Oscar Fowle, Paul Fowler, Arthur Francis, Charles Frank, Robert Frank, William Frank, Louis Frederick, Olaf Fredrickson, Franklin Freeborn, John Fries, Philip French, Alvar Freeberg, James Frommelt, Russell Fry, Woodrow Fry, Ralph Fullman, Willis Folk, Clifford Ferguson, Lawrence Furrow, Harold Fife, Joseph Gabica, Henry Gayeski, Henry Gallegos, Thomas Galvin, James Gamble, Charles Gamble, Joseph Kapinski, Charles Garbarini, Everett Gardner, John Garland, George Garner, Gerald Garner, Gilbert Garza, Joseph Gasson, Frank Gentiella, Lloyd George, Robert George, Paul Gerbasich, Eugene Jerry, Joseph Giambaresi, James Gibbs, Triunfo Gill, David Gilbert, Warren Gillespie, Salvatore Giovinazzo, Jack Blau, Lloyd Gleason, Dallas Goyne, Melvin Goldman, Sam Goldman, Morris Goldstein, Henry Golubuski, Henry Gollader, Warren Gollander, Arnaldo Gomez, James Gonwer, Irvin Gonsior, Harry Goodlow, Neil Goodrich, Ray Gorham, James Gorman, Henry Gormley, Roland Gaugen, Oliver Gow, William Gower, Aaron Gowd, Anthony Grande, Alexander Grays, Alvin Gray, Everett Gray, Robert Gray, Edmund Grayson, Matthew Grisino, Robert Greby, Ernest Green, Martin Greenberg, Rodman Green, Alfred Gregory, Dewsdor Gregory, Forrest Gregory, James L. Griggs. I want to stop at Griggs. What's up?
You want to change the background? We got deer.
Oh, we got deer now. Okay, that's fine.
So you want to change it, and I'll read
off of Griggs.
So we have a Griggs because our last name is Griggs. No Grevin in there. Okay, Carlin Grogan, Franklin Gromlin, Justin Groundwater, William Gunther.
Oh, it's supposed to be animals.
Oh, it's
the animals of Holland.
Oh, okay. Joseph Guerra, John F. Gulal,
Guglietta,
William Golino, Jerome. God, I'm terrible at these names.
Well, they're all Italians.
Okay, so you see
right.
them, and then I can do the H's maybe.
Okay, so when I stop, just remind them about Venmo at Treasure Sky if you'd like to donate, or go to treasureskyproductions.com and go to the donation tab. PayPal, Kenneth T. Griggs at treasureskyproduction.com.
Is it Treasure Skies with an S?
Sky, S-K-Y.
Y,
And it's
okay.
in the comments. So just scroll down if you don't see it. Scroll down to the comments. Thank you, Karen. And then if you're on Mom's YouTube, if you donate there, just comment with Timberwolves or Holland or something related to this. But Timberwolves would be the easiest to
Right.
follow.
Thank you, Teresa. She says we are honored to be part of this. And thank you, Stephanie. Some gave all gave some.
Yes.
So thank you for that. Thank you for watching and connecting. And even if you can't donate, please like, share, comment, and just, punch the hearts and the likes or whatever that, it's honoring them. And
Hold
we
on.
truly appreciate it.
Where's the cord for your phone?
Right here.
William, Julino, Jerome, Gunod.
It's not gonna
Yes,
fit.
it is. Okay. Ye have
Okay.
little faith.
Then all of a sudden everything falls
It's
down.
not Typical. All right. Urban Gunvalson, Joseph Warren, Donald Gustafson, Merle Haas, Robert Hafner, William Hagen, Leroy Hallbrook.
Hi, Karen.
Current switch over here.
Yeah.
Hashtag Holland.
Yes.
Paul Haley, Weldon Hall, William Hall, Edward Hawley, Justin Hamilton, James Hammond, James Hampton, Donald Hancock, Jerome Hanman, Vincent Han, Leonard Hanna, Leon Hansen, Robert Hansen, Vern Hansen, Elton Harris, Gilbert Harris, John Harris, Thomas Harris, Robert Harrison, George Hart, Howard Hart, Walter Hartwig, Cecil Hassel, William Hastings, Wilmer Hatmaker, Essel Hawkins, Bayard Haver, Hugh Hayes, Gordon Hayes, William Heckerman, Richard Hedrick, James Held, Benjamin Heller, Glenn Welsbeck, Charles Hemlow, Robert Hendricks, James Hendricks, also known as Jimmy, Cal Henry, Thomas Henry, John Henson, Ralph Hermakinski, Lawrence Hernandez, Roderick Herring, Hubert Hirschberger, William Herzer, Clifford Hess, Robert Hessler, Alvin Hewitt, William Haydenreich, Carly Hibbard, John Hicks, Patrick Higgins, Donald Hildebrand, Edward Hill, George Hill, Roy Hill, William Hillebrandt, Robert Hinch, Calvin Hines, Hobart Hidner, Robert Hobson, Everett Hodge, Wilford Hodge, Henry Hodgins, David Hoffman, Charles Hoffpower, Willis Hoffmeyer, Edward Hogan, Matthew Hogan, Robert Hogan, Garner Hoyt, Charles Holland, George Holland.
Gotta say yeah, move to the Holland ones. Huh?
Clarence Holliday, James Hollis, Ernest Holloway, Albus Holt, Norman Hooker, Ray Hooks, Dale Hooper, Harold Hooper, Melvin Hopkins, Philip Horan, Thomas Hord, John Horn, Michael Horniak, Harold Horton, Walter Horton, Virgil Houge, Albert Howard. So again, we're naming off names of the members of the 104th Timberwolves in honor of Memorial Day, and in raising awareness of the Timberwolves and our film project honoring the Timberwolves. We've created a short film which we are sending to festivals, which was thankfully forever grateful to J.K. Simmons for doing the voiceover and helping with the project and hopefully helping it get into other festivals. So thank you, J.K.
And we also connected with Audrey Hepburn's son, Sean, and he's helped us out in some ways too.
Yeah,
so
he's
thank you.
Given a lot of advice with the production side of things. Was able to start my production company with that. So yeah, no, Kern's on both. spam it. Get on Instagram. Go 3 for 3, Kern. You can do it.
Thanks, Kern, for watching.
If you can just hold this on your background, whether it's it's easier on Instagram. Go on my Instagram, k.t.griggs, at k.t.griggs, Facebook at Kenny Griggs, YouTube Psychic Debbie Griggs. If again, you want background music or put an app on, just having your views, having your ear, it helps a lot.
Yeah.
And again, going off the old saying, what kind of inspired this? You die twice, when your body dies, and then the last time someone mentions your name. So let's keep mentioning these names. Clifford Howard, Richard Howard, John Hubley, Sylvester Huffman, George Hughes, Jay Hughes, Leland Hughes, Murphy Holland, Paul Humphrey, Rufus Hunsucker, Alcide Hunter, John Hunter, Willard Hunt, William Hura, Tony Hurtado, Thomas Husband, Albert Hutchings. Okay. Albert Hutchings, Gerald Hewalt, Horace Hyde, Richard Halkema, James Illingworth, Euvan Ingalls, William Isaac, Joseph Ishcombe, Jack Isker, James Ivy, Frank Izzo, Joseph Jablonski, Walter Jablonski, maybe they were related.
Yeah.
Albert Jackson, Bill Jackson, Charles Jackson, Claude Jackson, Emmett Jackson. Okay, you wanted the J's.
Yeah.
I'll go down here.
Okay.
And then you can go use J's.
Okay.
James Jackson, Robert Jackson, William Jackson, Earl Jacobs, Irwin Jeff, Kenneth Yeager, George Jakes, Willie James, Willie F. James Jr. If you watched any of the TikToks or watched our video before, he was one of 2 African American or Black men that received the Distinguished Medal of Honor. He was honored, I think, make it a trifecta, Curran. Good job, Teresa.
You got people voting for you.
Come on, Curran.
Trifecta. Thanks,
Name
Teresa.
breathing forever. Willie F. James Jr. Won the Medal of Honor. He was not awarded the Medal of Honor until in the 90s by President Clinton. His wife had to take the honor. Obviously, he passed away during the war. And he was not honored in the fact that there wasn't even a photo of him in uniform. His wife had to hand draw from memory him in uniform, and that was the photo they used at his ceremony. So, Willie, I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
And so, what about the Bush? What's her last name? Is on there?
It might be. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Barbara B. She's one of the people that did my retreats and all that stuff. Hi, thank you.
Thanks for joining.
And donations. Thank you.
Hi. Curran's on Instagram.
The trifecta.
You can take a photo of this or have your wife take a photo. I want to see this. All right. Love you, Curran. Congrats again. Again, if you're just coming here, Curran just became a lieutenant with the 82nd Airborne. So congratulations, Curran. Well deserved. Hard work paid off. So
yeah.
Love you.
Whoops.
All right. Oh, we're taking the photo for the. All right. Let's see. Sorry, we'll take a break.
Yeah. We're taking a break. We're trying to get a picture of us with the three things.
All right. Thank you guys for your help in honoring this. Sorry I'm late. Nothing in hell can stop the Timberwolves. Thank you, Dominic.
Right.
Nothing in hell can stop the Timberwolves.
That's their phrase.
Okay. Start with that one.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I said I would end this one.
Okay.
Pablo Jaramillo, Edward Jaskett. I'll get that when I'm done. Thank you. Raymond J. John Jevons, Sylvester Gendrisick, Joe Jenkins, Leroy Jennings, Donald Jensen.
Inghart Jensen, John Jensen, Stanley. Jezik, Harold Johnson, Harold Johnson,
Johansson, and then Arvel
Johnson, Clayton Johnson, Eugene Johnson, George Johnson, Gordon Johnson, Harold Johnson, Jess Johnson, Lawrence Johnson, Warren Johnson, Ira Jones,
good job, Curran.
David Jones, Edmund Jones, Joe Jones, Leonard Jones, Robert Jones, Ralphie Jones, William Jones, Harold Jordan, Melvin Josephson, Henry Judd, Lucas Junt, Walter Juggling, Joseph, and then you'll probably
okay
because I'm
my sister Kalina's on here. Hi, Kalina. Happy belated birthday.
We're naming off the Timberwolves for the
80th anniversary of them liberating Holland, which is playing in the background.
Yeah.
And liberating our family, my mom's mom, and dad, and grandparents. So.
Omens and opas.
Yeah.
And
Oms and aunts, tantas.
Tanta and
Oms.
Oms. Yeah. Ovahudas.
All right, where do we leave off? Okay, Joseph Kachina, Cyril Kaiser, Raymond Kalvik, Walter Konchusky, Joseph Kaplan, Victor Kaplan, Fred Keeler, Fred Kiesling, John Kelly, Harvey Kelly, Wallace Kelly, William Kelly, Aaron Kemp, Thomas Kendrew, William Kenyon, James Kerr, Ernest Kirsch, Robert Kirshner, Frank Keys, Bennett Kidder, Harville Killingsworth, George Kindle, Benjamin King, James King, well, I should say James L. King, James P. King, Meredith S. King Jr., Donald Kingsbury, Russell Kinnison, Louis Kinsky, Walter Kirk, Joseph Kirshner, Carl Kish, Eddie Kitchen, Sidney Clark, Henry Klatt, William Klimek, Oral Kling, Adam Kluge, Frank Naus, George Knickerbocker, Homer Knight, Albert Knorr, Frank Knutson, Ronald Kohanke, James Kohler. It's weird because you go through the names and you think of either famous people or people you know.
Oh, right.
So if you hear your name or a family member's last name, put a like.
Yeah, like.
And hearts. On any of the social medias. We're on my Instagram at k.t.griggs, Mom's YouTube at Psychic Debbie Griggs,
yeah,
and my Facebook Kenny Griggs. But yeah, think of these. A name, a word has 1,000 meanings to it. So these men have these lives behind their names.
Right, massive lives, and how many people they have saved. The ripple effect.
Yes, the butterfly effect of us being here right now to honor them. And, I wish I could, I'm running through these. I wish I could sit down with each one of these and tell me your stories. So that's why we're here, trying to take a piece of their story and honor it in this.
And we're just honoring them on this Memorial Day. Thank you for the service, like you, Curran.
Yes, thank you, Curran. Curran's going to become the mascot of this
yeah.
call. Curran, where are you? Raise a hand, put a heart. I saw you send an image. I can't look at it. But thank you, Curran. Oh, hi, Jenny. We mentioned your dad. So Paul, who was a big part of inspiring this story. So,
yes,
so the whole Franklin family.
You.
Your brother's here too, I think. So thank you. Andrew Koki.
What was Paul's last name?
Franklin.
Howard
Kokodoff, James Kohler, William Cobb, Jerome Culloden, Leonard Komnick, Samuel Kuki, John Kornzavi, Leonard Kashensky, Henry Koska, Leslie Kovala, Ralph Cowerts, Eddie Kratzer, Paul Kraus, former Minnesota Viking Paul Kraus, Ernest Kronstedt, Kenneth Kruger, Charles Kuckler, Christian Kubler, Milton Kulisek, Paul Kumler, Ivan Coons, Jack Konofsky, Stephen Kuzeroff, John Kyle, Herman Herman Lasarius, Thomas Lacey, Windsor Lacey, Robert Ladebach, Berlin Ladner, Donat Lafreur, Louis Lagerval, William Leahy, James Lamb, LaFell Lamson, James Laundrum, Leonce Landry, Herbert Lane, Robert Lane, Pierre Langlinias, George Langston, Wilfred Lanier, Ambrosia Laranja.
Ambrosia. That's a cool name.
George Lasker, Philip Lasher, Donald Laskowski, Henry Lassen, Lyman Latourre, Chester Labman, Thomas Ladani, Edward Laughinghouse. Oh, that name. Edward Laughinghouse. Sanford Levine, George Law, William Lawless, Charles Lawrence, George Laws, Perry Lawson, Roy Leach, John LeBeau, William Letford, Elfie Ledoux, Burton Lee, Hewitt Lee, Julius Lee, Robert Lee, Robert C. Lee, Bernard Lefkowitz, Frank Legezda, Morris Leedy, Walter Leon, Jerome Leonard, Lawrence Leonard, Herbert Lenhart, Louis Lepere, Edward Letnick, Paul Liam, Harry Levon, Arthur Levin, William Lickle. All right. We got a few more.
We got a lot of pages, people.
If you know
Thank
how
you
the
for
alphabet
connecting.
works.
Yeah, we still got a lot. We'll probably be on here for a couple hours, but she answered you. I don't understand what you're asking there. So
who answered me?
She answered you? I don't know what that means.
Or he answered you, like Curran saying hi or something.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. So thank you for watching.
Yep.
Again, if you scroll through the comments, we're trying to take our production company to Holland for the 80th anniversary of them liberating Holland, along with the Timberwolf pups. If you'd like to make a donation, $1, $100, anything in between, go to Venmo at Treasure Sky. Oh, now the video stopped.
Okay.
Continue with the PayPal.
Okay. If you want to donate at my psychicdebbie.com, and you can go to the donation page and just say it's for the Timberwolves. We appreciate everything, even if it's a dime. Even if you can't afford it, please like, comment, and share. We are honored with these beautiful service men and women for Memorial Day. We're reading off the Timberwolves, the 104th Division, Infantry Division, and we're reading off every single name and to honor them and thank them for their service, because it didn't even help us in America. It helped all over the world, especially in Europe. So,
excuse me. All right. So we continue. I'm going to try and go through a page.
Sure.
Okay. Not for the page. Herbert Lydiard, Seymour Liebman, Edward Ligori, Charles Linder, Wendling Lindsay, Stuart Lindstrom, Winfried Link, Adam Listvin, Leon Luttrell, Joseph Livingston, Will Livingston, Troy Lockhart, William Loftus, William Long, Esteban Lopez, Andrew Lorman, Matthew Love, Paul Lovins, James Lowe, Nick Lozick, James Luckett, Sylvester Lucking, Donald Luking, Maltz Lundell, Joe Lunsford, Lolly Lunsford, Anthony Luonga, Adolph Luthi, Louis Lux, Raymond Lynch, Harold Little, Clinton Mayberry, Millard Mabe, Henry McCloskey, Donald Maddox, Norman Mullum, Thamer, Maine, Ira Malamut, Richard Mallon, Robert Mallow, George Manning, Paul Maraskowitz, William March, Harold Marshall, Louis Margle, Paul Marino, John Marshall, Elmer Martin, Geddes Martin, Raymond Martin, Robert Martinell, Amador Martinez, Candelario Martinez, John Martinez, Jose L. Martinez, Joseph M. Martinez, Nicholas M. Martinez, Morel C. Mask, Nicholas F. Massad, Robert L. Mattison, James M. Matthews, Herman R. Matheson, Herbert T. Mattingly, Bernard Mouse, Wilbert Mayer, Richard Mays, Julian Mazurik, Louis Mazzi, Clyde Mechanich, John McCabe, Kenneth McCain, Daniel McCann, Charles McChesney, Thomas McLeod, Harold McCluskey, James McCreary, Charles McCullough, Gerald McCurdy, James McDonald, Charles McElroy, Howard McFall, Walter McGaw, Thomas McGoldrick, Eugene McGarth, William McGugan, Dennis McGuire, Joseph McGuire, Bernard McCurney, Leslie McKillop, David McKinley, John McKinley, Robert McKinney, Reginald McClellan, William McLeod, George McManus, David McNeil, Carl McNutt, Clyde McFerrin, Donald McQueen, John Meter, Dixie Meadows. Let's go, Curran! Hit the hearts, hit the likes, hit the hundreds.
Likes, yep. Hit the likes, hundreds.
How long are you doing this? Until we get through this book, Curran.
We're doing it for a long time, so that's why we're
Curran
saying.
commented on all of them. I like it.
Yeah. Thanks, Curran.
Dixie
Everybody
Meadows,
commented on everything.
Johnny Meadows, John Meyer. Comment, put a like if you're still here watching.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Even just hitting the hundreds, the hearts, the smiles. Your battery is running low.
Oh, isn't it plugged in?
It should be.
Go check it out. Johnny Meadows, John Myers, Spyro Miladones, John McQuest, Vernon Nelson, Simon Mendoza, Morris Mendelovitz, Hubert Merritt, Reed Messinger, Herbert Mayring, Sylvester Messino, Donald Michael, Thomas Michael, Arthur Michaels, James Michaels, Rex Milton, Robert Melky, Edwin Makota, Herbert Miles, Carlos Milan, Earl Miller, Lloyd Miller, Luther Miller, Raymond Miller, Robert Miller, Robert U. Miller, Robert B. Miller, Sigmund Miller, James F. Millinor, Paul Mangrino, Myron Mink, Robert Minster, Ralph.
Oh, that's yours.
That's mine. Ralph Meisner, Albert Misquez, Ralph Mitchell, Walter Mitchell, Robert Mock, George Moan, Virgil Morman, Myron Mullen, Floyd Melendez, John Mooney, Donald Moore, Roman Morales, Frank Morales, Eddie Moreno, Bill Morgan, General Morgan, Robert Morrill, Wilbur Morris, Boyd Morrow, Louis Moss, Kenneth Moxley, Edward Rose, Carl Mudridge, John Muir, Lawrence Mullins, William Muncie, Raymond Murphy, Richard Murphy, Johnny Murray, Luke Musacchia, Lee Muser, Oswald Meyer, Ray Myers, Richard Myers, James Mountain, Benjamin Mazzaro, Wayne Needles, Thomas Nielsen, Terrence Nellen, Kenneth Nelson. Our history teacher was Kenneth Nelson.
Oh, that's right.
Linus Nelson, Stanley Nelson, Charles Nemeth, Albert Newberg, Ernest Newhook, Wallace Nichols, William Nicola, Floyd H. Nichols, Clarence Nicholson, Lee M. Nicky, Merrill Nade, Paul Nido, Roy Nemo, Howard Niederhouse, Manuel Norton, Waylon Norwood, Dominic Nunziato, John Normie, Chester Knight, Robert Oakes, Vernon Oslager, Albert Olmsted, John Olson, Glenn Olson, Newbert O'Neill, John Apavo, Eunice or Jerome, Crispine Orozco.
Barb saying you're awesome, Debbie and Kenny.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for.
Oh, hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Mary's the one that helps run a lot of the Timberwolves. We mentioned your father, Jamie Jameson. So thank you for honoring him at this time with Memorial Day. I know you see all the posts and stuff, anyone that's been affected by service members, but it's everyone. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for not just the 104th, but all military members who protect us. So thank you. This is our way to honor you and them. And again, people ask, or they'll say to a current service member, "Oh, happy Memorial Day." It's not for them. It is, but it's not. They know it's for their fallen brothers and sisters that made the greatest sacrifice. And then you have Veterans Day, which is for all veterans. So keep that in mind. Memorial Day is to
honor the ones that have passed
and the memory of them that have passed. I'm going to go through this. Once I'm done with this page, do you mind telling them about the coins at a grave?
Oh, I don't know all that.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay, I'll tell them. All right. David Orozco, Milton Ort, Louis Ortega, Mac Osias, Donald Oswald, John Owens, Frank Palermo, Raymond Pellini, Harry Palmer, Frank Parise, Manuel Park, Chester Parker, Daniel Parker, John Parker, Howard Parnell, Edwin Partridge, Robert Partain, Francis Pate, Carl Patty, Earl Paulez, Robert Peck, Lester Pedersen, James Pebbles, Clyde Peeler, Andrew Peltonen, Estelle Penley, Raymond Peplow, George Parasso, Charles Perkins, Albert Perry, William Perry, Peter Paseka, Melvin Peter, David Petruca, William Peters, George Petrina, Frank Pettit, Jewel Pettis, Joseph Pfaff, David Phillips, Russell Phillips, Elmer Pipenberg, Edward Planique, Lawrence Pearson, Louis Plummer, Jesus Polanco, James Polio, Noah Pollard, Gerald Pollitt, James Polos, Louis Poole, Norman Pofal, Ross Powell, Andrew Powers, Lee Powers, Edward Prazel, Clarence Prater, Joseph Pratt, Albert Prefontaine, Bernard Price, George G. Price, George W. Price, Robert Price, Edgar Prince, Walter Prior, John Prosser, Raymond Pisteau, Lloyd Pullen, William Persino, Henry Pusa, Richard Qua, Raymond Qualls, Blaine Queen, Julius Queneman, James Rafalt, Ignacio Ragones, Ramon Ramirez, Frank Ramsey, Walter Rimstetter, Richard Rainey, Raymond Ransdell, James Ransom, Vernon Rapp, Roland Rasmussen, Gail Routs, Robert Rawson, Samuel Ray, Rexford Rayner, Frank Redinger, William Reese, John Rufus, Donald Recker, James Reed, J. Sheridan Riley, Kenneth Reese, James Reisinger, Arlie Reeder, Gordon Reitz, Marion Rethorst, Paul Reinheimer. So, real quick, if you go to a grave site, and especially during Memorial Day, you'll see a lot of flags, but you may see coins. A lot of times when you leave a coin signifies something. So I don't know the exact significance of each one, but I believe if you...
What's the meaning of each coin that you put on a grave?
If you visit and you put a penny, you're visiting, you're honoring them. That someone stopped by to pay respect. If someone leaves a nickel on a grave, it means they served in boot camp together. A dime means they both served in the military together in some capacity. If someone leaves a quarter on a grave, it means they were there when the soldier was killed. So if you see a quarter, that's a very significant meaning.
Yes.
Can you continue going through on these? I'm going to check on her real quick.
Okay.
So if you just got to go through, you got to go through. We're up
Okay.
here. Excuse me.
Abram Rhodes, John Richards, Alfred Resco, Elvin Riley, Raymond Relidi, James Risen, Paul Risley, William Ressler, Harold Ritz, Kenneth Roberts, Kenneth Robertson, Jess Robinson, Williard Robertson, Edward Reddick, Fred Red Rick, I hope I'm saying that right, Paul Rustler, Carl Rogers, Benjamin Rose, Errol Roper. I don't know how to say this person's name. I'll wait until Kenny comes back and he can say it. Edward Rose, Chester Rosenbaum, Herbert Rosengrons, Irving Rosenthal, Matthew Ross. I'm probably butchering your names. I'm sorry. Roshetko. It's the puppy. She's crying. Herbert Rosser, Harry Ross, Kenneth Ross, Laurel Rust, William Rust, Clarence Roterud, Virgil Rothra, Walter Roziger, Leonard Rule, Robert Russi, Sam Rosomono, Carl Rutledge, Dominic Sabantin, Frank, here we go, Sabinski, Rambansky, Oliver Sack, Leonard Saffert, Saffert, Louis Solisto, Abraham Saltzman, Cecil Sammons, Michael Sanders, Ray Sanders, William Sanders, Lauren Sandmoen, Chester Sansoucie. How do you say this?
Magdaleno Rosales.
Okay, thank you. Ernest Sapp, George Saul, Jesse Saul, John Saver, Earl Sawyer, Ozzy Sailor.
Ori Sailor.
Okay, you just go. Because I can't. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names.
It's okay.
My dad was a veteran, Edgar
Barbeau, senior.
Blessed all who protect us. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you
for this lively live stream. Thank you, Dominic. I believe Dominic had family members that were part of the Russians who met up with the Timberwolves at the end of the war. So great little connection to end the war. Hi, Gene. Hi, Karen. Again, we're going for a while here. We're going through quite a few names. We're in the S's right now. We're honoring members of the 104 Timberwolves division. If you just have us on in the background and you hear your name or a family member's name, put a like. Just hammer the like button. And if you can, to raise money for our production company to go over to Holland to film the 80th anniversary of Timberwolves Liberation. Scroll through the comments. They're in each comment here on Facebook, at my Kenny Griggs site, at k.t.griggs on Instagram, and at Psychic Debbie Griggs on YouTube. Just scroll up to the comments, but it'll be Venmo at Treasure Sky is the production company. Go to treasureskyproductions.com and go to donate, or on PayPal, it's under Kenneth T. Griggs at Treasure Sky Production. All right.
Or psychicdebbie.com at donation page and say it's for the Timberwolves.
Yes. And 80, Current said 80 is a big deal. Hashtag 80.
Yeah. 80
80 years.
80 years, people.
Look what the world has been able to do because of this. These guys sacrificing their lives. Men
and women, family members, everybody. Yeah. So.
All right. So Michael Sprigila, Remo Scarlata, Emmanuel Schall, Frank Schaefer, Herschel Schaefer, Arthur Schendel, Lawrence Schiebel, Frederick Schmidt, Thomas Schmidt, Arthur Schneider, James Schneider, Manfred Schneier, Isidore Schulman, Harold Schultz, Edward Schwartz, Leonard Swartz, Dominic Scalfani, Thomas Scott, William Siegmiller, Robert Seeley, Van Seeley, Paul Seary, Wayne Seifer, David Seeker, Robert Selleck, Louis Sino, Morris Sepulvedo, Armin Sarabella, Elmer Schaefer, Ralph E. Schaefer, Ralph E. Shank, Alva Sharp, Herbert Shaver, David Sheridan, Ewald Sherman, Clifford Sherping, Rudolph Shiplevy, Odell Shipman, Nicholas Shively, John Schoaf, Jack Short, Howard Sugar, Newton Shy, William Sieber, James Sills, John Silva, George Silver, James Simons, Robert Simons, Robert N. Simons, Robert A. Simons, Ralph Eats Sinclair, Charles Singleton, Everett Skaggs, Bernard Scahill, okay, Arnold Scusa, Henry Slater, James Slay, William Slay, Dara Sloan, Norman Slow, Edward Small. But if it's the same name, just say the middle initial too.
Oh, okay. So
that separates them a little.
So where you hear Charles F. Smith, Clayton E. Smith, David L. Smith, Dunas L. Smith, George A. Smith, George E. Smith, Horace S. Smith, James E. Smith, Lester E. Smith, Louis A. Smith, Ordell Smith, Quentin D. Smith, Rafe H. Smith, Rexford Smith, Richard M. Smith, Russell W. Smith, William J. Smith, Morris Smolin.
We're past the Smiths.
We're past the Smiths. The only one I can say. I have dyslexia. Sorry.
Morris Smolin. So Morris Smolin, Keith Smoot, John Snyder, James Snitzer, Eugene Snyder, James Snyder, William Snyder, James Sabansky, Richard Sabolda, Anthony Sokolowski, Herbert Solomon, Robert Somerville, Benjamin Sorrells, William Spankus, Ralph Spear, Gerald Spencer, Harold Starr, Joseph Stanley, Allison Stanley, James Stanley, Richard Stanton, Francis Stapleton, Robert Starliper, William Staudacker, Robert Steger, William Stein, Robert Stenger, William Stensrud, John Stevens, Norman Stevens, James K. Stewart, Robert C. Stewart, there's two Robert C. Stewart, Philip E. Stillinger, Lester St. John, John D. Stoker, Michael Stocklosa, Bernard Stoltz, Francis Stone, Ryle Stone, George Storer, Joseph Storm, Holton Stovall, Jasper Stovall, David Stracer, John Straley, Marshall Stratton, Kenneth Strauss, Alvin Strickland, Paul Stringer, Harry Strittmatter, Scott Strong, Charles Stotts, Julius Strasensky, Edward Stryzek, Clarence Stump, Jack Sturm, Melvin Soule, Francis Sullivan, John Serency, Floyd Sutherland, Merton Sutherland, Benny Sutton, Manis, Swafford, Norbert Swanley, Herschel Swan. So thank you guys for staying with us while we go through these names.
Here we are over an hour, and we get it.
Yep.
Just have us in the background. Please like, share, comment. Just hit the heart button, go on the chat, and just put your finger on it and just go heart, heart, heart to honor these beautiful servicemen and women.
So I have a page and a half left.
Okay. Do you want me to read off some of the people that donated, or I do that tomorrow?
You can do that tomorrow. So
okay.
Mom does a weekly live stream on YouTube. So if you can go to Psychic W. Griggs every Tuesday, thereabouts, she'll do a live stream. She'll post videos on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok.
And post and my podcast too.
And she's going out with the podcast too. So yeah, hitting all the social media. I don't think anyone on Instagram's seen your face through this thing. So there she is.
I'm the mama.
And if you'd like a reading, go to psychicwgriggs.com.
I do world predictions really good.
Okay. So I have a page and a half. So we're going to go through this real quick. Okay. William Sweeney, Roy Swenson, James Swint, Joe Sykes, Ralph Schwezik, Alexander Schmid. How do you spell that?
Oh, wow.
Aleksander. That's cool. Okay. Sorry, everything's running on empty.
Yeah.
Howard Tabor, Fletcher Tallman, John Topolsky, Manuel Tarango, Charles Tatleon, Aldrich Tower, Bernard Taylor, Burtis Taylor, Dale Taylor, Frank Taylor, Eugene Taman, Ben J. Tier Jr., Orrin Tenery, Perry Tester, Bertrand Thibault, A.J. Thomas, David S. Thomas, Elmer Thomas, Herbert Thomas, Robert Thomas, Chess Thompson, Donnelly Thompson, John S. Thompson, John T. Thompson, William F. Thompson Jr., Richard Taberski, Jesse Tilson, George Tyndall, Vito Tito, Robert Jossam, Anthony Turek, Joseph Tran, Felix Trella, Chauncey Tressler, George Tuck, Louis Tucker, Philip Turek, Horace Turner, Oscar Turner, Clifford Tynan, John Teisinger, James Teisel, Herschel Tyson, Alfred Underwood, Eugene Urbanowski, Frank Vaccaro, Raymond Valenta, George Van Giesen, Max Van Orman, Manuel Varela, Clinton Vanador, Margarito Vasquez, Veldon Vaughn, Harold Bowder, James Veith, Joseph Verbonic, Oscar Verbal, Ruben Verts, Jack Vevers, Alton Viator, Mitchell Vincent, Charles Burden, John Blackus, John Volker, Franklin Bowles, Julius Wachowski, Charles Wagner, Morris Wald, Robert Waldridge, Wesley Wales, Herman Walker, James Walker, John A. Wall, John J. Walsh, Chester Ward, David Ward, Emmett Ward, John Ward, Lloyd Ward, Sheridan Ward, William Wardle, Fred Wardner, Vincent Warner, Wilbur Warnock, Casimir Warsowski, George Watson, Richard Way, Marion Weaver, William Webb, Ralph Weber, Raymond Weber, Charles Weed, Eller Wesner, Victor Wegner, Lloyd Weir, Alden Wentworth, John Weir, Harold Westerman, Thomas Westmoreland, Bernard Wheatley, Bilbo Wheeler, Charles Wheeler, Glenn White, Howard White, Walter White, Theodore Whitenack, Dwayne Whitmer, Archie Witten, Lionel Wharton, Joseph Wechowitz, Edgar Wickard, Carl Whittle, Edmund Wilgausch, Wilbur Weiss, Henry Wilcox, David Wilkinson, George Will, Gilmer Will, Gerald Williams, Keith Williams, Raymond Williams, Marvin Williford, Joe Willis, Denton Wilson, James Wilson, Raymond Wynn, Paul Winthrop, David Wire, Roy Worth, Roy Wessinger, Guy Witherite, John Wodick, Leo Wojcik, Charles Wohlert, Eugene Wolfe, Lester L. Wolfe, Theodore Wolfe, Wallace Wolasovic, Kirk Womack Jr., James C. Woods, Robert L. Woods, William Woods, David Warbs, Julius Wozniak, Earl Wright, Homer Wright, Lyle Wright, Wesley Wright, Richard Rodlowski, William Urey, Gerald Yemens, Harry Yoho, Dilworth Young, John P. Young, Lester Young, Kenneth Youngland, James Ziegler, Sidney Zinn, Erwin Zura, Abe Zwantowski. So, that was a lot of names.
And there's a lot more.
That, just to show you guys, the names we just went over were the ones killed in action. That's not even all the members. So that's only members that were killed in action that they know of.
And that's for Memorial Day weekend.
Those are all the ones killed in action. So I feel like a lot of names. There's a lot more that were missing in action, wounded, and passed away after the war. And then people that recently passed away within the last couple of years. So thank you. Thank you.
So if you like to donate, like I said, psychicdebbie.com, go to the donation page, go to Kenny's.
Go to Venmo at Treasure Sky, or you can go through PayPal. The website would be, or the email would be Kenneth T. Griggs at treasureskyproduction.com, or you can go to treasureskyproductions.com and go to the donate tab. All of that is in the comments. So scroll up to the very top, is right at the beginning. If you were a member of the pups and you hopped on and didn't hear your father's or grandfather's or uncle's name that you reached out to me to say, we said it at the beginning of the video. I can see if we can post maybe this again on Facebook at least. But yes, we mentioned their names. We started with their names. I definitely wanted to get those up first. So thank you for those who have donated. Thanks to you who will be donating to send our production company, Treasure Sky Productions, to Holland this fall to partake in the 80th anniversary, where the Timberwolf pups will be visiting parts of Holland that were liberated by the Timberwolves 80 years ago to this year. And there will be quite a few ceremonies, wreath-laying ceremonies, going to cemeteries, going to see monuments that have the Timberwolves insignia on it, streets named after the Timberwolves, all in honor of them. We're also looking to film a documentary about it. So that is where the money is going.
About these people, yes.
We are working on making the film. We are finishing up our proof of concept, which we were lucky enough to have J.K. Simmons be a part of, and hopefully help make the feature film become a reality. And thank you to all that have donated already. With Mom's video we did a couple weeks ago, we will be reaching out to them it was a big overnight, like, wow, I even posted a TikTok about it. So thank you for that. Thank you for taking the time. These are just a few names of thousands. And learn about the Timberwolves. Look them up. Spread the word. And if you do happen to see our short film at a town near you, I will be posting where we will be airing them or where they'll be accepted for festival runs, and hopefully good news to create the feature film.
Or if you know someone that wants to produce or help
Yeah.
us produce or create, if you know a producer and anybody that could help us so that we can bring this beautiful story around the world. And it would be, you know, it's like the Phoenix Rising, you know what I mean? The story that nobody heard of and all of a sudden becomes this great story. You know what I mean?
So honor these Timberwolves. Big thing I want to say real quick. I just thought about it. Curran helped out with the short film. Curran, if you don't know, if you haven't been following, is on all 3 social media channels. He actually, I guess in a way, donated or lended an authentic World War II uniform that he allowed us to embroider the Timberwolves patch on. You will see that when we release the short film, or if you happen to go to one of the film festivals, you will see his nice work on making it authentic. So thank you. Thank you to Steve, who filmed in Minnesota. Thank you for my sister and brother for allowing us to film on their land. To my niece for being in the film. To my nephew too, I guess, for being there. I don't know. And to the whole crew there, they allowed us to use M1 Grand, make everything as authentic as we could on a shoestring budget. So now we're looking to film a documentary about this 80th anniversary. So at the end of the day, I can say thank you to all of the social media channels. Curran Rusage is the man.
And thanks, ME. It says thank you for sharing the details on the Timberwolves.
Yeah, go
thank
look
you.
them up.
I mean, yeah.
Again, if you get a chance, go look up the Timberwolves 104th Infantry Division. Go to their website. Help them out. You can buy this book, The Timberwolf Tracks. If they're out of the books, I know they mentioned they are releasing a PDF version of the book that you can purchase. So you can read anywhere on the go. So Timberwolf Tracks. You can also look up Timberwolf Tracks as well, but go straight to the source.
And they're from they were stationed in Oregon, right?
Yeah, so they trained
Northwest.
in Camp Adair, Oregon, and so there's still a monument at Camp Adair. Camp Adair is not there anymore, but there's monuments where it was. And again, going back to my grandma's story, she moved to Oregon and met one of the Timberwolves 75 years later, Paul Franklin, whose children have been in and out on these videos. So thank you again for the support. For taking us into your home when we visited you and being able to see the short film. So this is just one step in a bigger picture, but thank you for your time. Thank you for the donations. If you want to hear any more, you can see me at Instagram, k.t.griggs. You can follow me on Facebook, Kenny Griggs. You can hear updates from my mom at Psychic Debbie Griggs on YouTube or on Instagram and Facebook as well.
And podcast. Yeah.
So,
and like they say, what's the saying?
Nothing in hell can stop the Timberwolves. All right.
And so nothing is going to help stop us to honor these beautiful, beautiful people. We want to give you blessings and smiles, and thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for connecting. We honor you. We honor all the service people, men and women, family members, everybody. We all honor you on this Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.
Anybody else? Anything else you want to say?
That's it.
Okay.
All right.
Blessings and smiles.
Thank you.
And until next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.